Hello and welcome to another XRAY Tech video. I'm your host, Tom Nasser, also known as the Automation Alchemist, and today we're going to tell you about 3 books that help you prepare for automation in 2022. Now, these aren't how-to guides or even books that specifically talk about automation. Instead, they're books that will get you in the right mindset for automation. They'll prepare you with the philosophy that you need to make good choices and build automations the right way that support you in the long term. So let's get started and explore some books that will help you lay the groundwork for automating this year. The first book I'd like to talk about is called The End of Average by Todd. This book talks about the notion of averages and how averages can be really misleading if not used properly. An interesting example is the size of fighter pilots in the book. The cockpit was designed for the average fighter pilot, but it didn't actually fit anybody. No single person matched the statistical average that they designed for. Someone had longer legs or a shorter torso, whatever. The supposed average of a fighter pilot actually described nobody. This concept of averages being misleading is strikingly applicable to automations. Instead of building for a generic person on your team, a customer service rep or a salesperson, build for a single individual. Test the automation with them and get their feedback so you can tailor the automation to their individual needs. Then worry about how it could apply to multiple people. The average is very misleading. The next book I'd like to talk about is called Antifragile by Nassim Taleb. Now, this book talks about the concepts of fragility and anti-fragility. So to break it down real quick, let's start with a wine glass. If you knock it off the table, it's gonna break. You might call that fragile or delicate, right? But if it fell off the table and it hit the ground and it didn't break, that's strong or robust. It's not quite anti-fragile. Anti-fragile is talking about something that actually gets stronger when you apply pressure to it. So take the human body, for example. If you did 100 push-ups today, you might be a little sore tomorrow and the next day, but by day 3 or 4, you're actually stronger than you were before you did the push-ups. So how can we actually take this concept of anti-fragility, getting stronger when you apply stress to a system, and apply that concept into automations? The concept of anti-fragility is going to really help you as you build automations. You need to have the ability to update the automation as more people use it, and you might need to change it or modify it over time. So to accommodate for this, when you build, it's important to abstract the logic outside of the automation. In other words, you don't want to need to open up Zapier every time you need to change a hard-coded variable. Instead, keep a lot of that logic inside an Airtable record so that the automation itself can use those variables dynamically, and you have a greater variety of ways that you can use the same automation. Last, but certainly not least, is The Cold Start Problem by Chen. Now, this book is about network effects. In other words, as people join a tool, that tool sees exponential growth in value because more people are joining it. Now, network effects are everywhere, and it's a huge part of how startups win advantages inside of competitive markets. So this book focuses mostly on semantics and defining how network effects relate to each other, and it really describes the various pieces of what a network effect is, and gives us language to be able to talk about it. It's really useful. Network effects apply to building automations because the same concept of exponential growth applies to automated workflows as they gather more data. As you begin to automate, more and more things will become possible to automate. And this accumulation of data inside of your operational database will itself have a network effect inside of your company. As you build more and more automated workflows will become possible to build. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to support the channel. If you'd like to learn more about no-code and low-code automation, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or even LinkedIn. And you can check out all these resources at our website, xray.tech. You can check out all those links and more on the description down below. And as always, don't forget, keep the flow.